Last year, April 26th, 2007, a writer named Bob Herbert wrote a column in the Sunday, no, it wasn't the Sunday New York Times, it was weekday New York Times, that contained a statistic that I had never read, never heard, and about gun violence in this country, and I just found it shocking. And I couldn't sleep, I couldn't do anything until I wrote a song about it, because that's what we songwriters do. In 1968, Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King were killed by bullets, a tragic, shameful thing. In the years that followed, in this land of the free, how many more Americans would die in a shooting spree? The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention tracks this data down, brings it to our attention. From 1968 till now, the number killed by guns stuns more than 1 million Americans, babies, toddlers, mothers, more than 1 million Americans, fathers, sisters, brothers, more than 1 million Americans, students, teachers, brides, more than 1 million American murders and suicides, more than 1 million Americans, neighbors, daughters, sons, more than 1 million Americans have been killed by guns, more than 1 million American families miss someone every day, more than 1 million American lives simply blown away, more than 1 million birthdays, 1 million graduations, more than 1 million weddings with 1 million expectations. How can anybody justify this annihilation? Why is it we never get a convincing explanation? More than 1 million Americans, grandparents, husbands, wives, more than 1 million American permanently interrupted lives, more than 1 million Americans, co-workers and friends, more than 1 million Americans met heartbreaking ends, more than 1 million Americans who needed our protection, more than 1 million Americans who can't vote the next election, more than 1 million Americans who no longer have a choice, for more than 1 million Americans we must raise up our voice. In 1968, Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King were killed by bullets, a tragic, shameful thing. In the years that followed, in this land of the free, more than 1 million Americans have died in shooting sprees. And of all the songs I've ever written, this is the one that's gotten me the most emails, and 95% of the email is angry with me for writing the song. Can you believe it? I could not believe it. I got an email from a guy. He was in the audience at my show in Boston, and he wrote to me that day, and he said, obviously you have issues when it comes to fear of guns, and he offered to teach me how to shoot for free. Yeah, I said, no thank you.
Million Mile March.
But at that same concert, I met a woman whose sister was killed by her boyfriend in 1989. He shot her, and she was just crying and crying, but she was so happy that somebody, I mean, the letters I've gotten have been so crazy. They said, like, why don't you write a song about cars and all the people they kill? cars aren't made to kill people. That's an accident. So all these people, I would write back to them, and I'd sign them all the same way. I'd say, P.S., if you listen to the song carefully, I just give statistics and ask a couple of questions. So please, don't shoot the messenger.